There is an image quality issue that shows up from time to time on my latex printers. I call it elongated text. Now what's happening in a lot of cases is the step alignment, for one reason or another, either because the material is difficult or it's irregular or the way it travels mechanically through the printer, or sometimes the OMOS doesn't get a right reading. That happens. If you're seeing text that looks like it's stretched out, where they stretch the text, instead of a nice, sharp, crisp, even S, you have an S that kind of looks like it's stretched up or down. This is an example of it. If you look closely, this is a faux leather that we ran, and I can almost guarantee it was run this way on the printer because I can see the text here is stretched a bit. It almost looks like you have a drop shadow on it. When you see text that's stretched, it'll happen sometimes on fabric. I've seen it on both asphalt art and Alumagrip. What's happening can vary. Sometimes the material itself would prefer to have a take-up roll. You know, there's certain Alumagrip, for example, once I put it on a take-up roll, it settles down and it looks great. But until you put it on that take-up roll, no matter what you do, that text is not going to look right. Now, the image may hide it. It's still there, but it hides it and you don't see it. But text is usually a dead ringer. And what's happening is that either the OMOS has misread it, but in this case with the Alumagrip, what's happening is it's an aluminum foil type adhesive, and just the nature of that material, it really performs better when you put a little tension on the front. Now, in other cases, what's happened is like certain fabrics, when you load the fabric, you're telling it, okay, enable the take-up roll. And when you do that, it rolls it forward and it rolls it back and it determines what the ideal step alignment is. Now, sometimes people also fail to do that. When they load the material, the printer automatically calibrates a step alignment. That step alignment is wrong. It's wrong because the material does not have enough tension in the front, doesn't have a take-up roll, and as a result, it gives it a wrong answer. It kind of flops down or drops into the ink collectors. Once you put it on a take-up roll, if you do not say enable take-up roll, it's got a wrong answer, a really wrong answer, because it needs to be recalibrated. So if you're running fabric or something or anything at all and you're seeing this elongated text, one of the first things I do is I go to the front panel on the printer and then I go to calibration and I recalibrate the step alignment. You just reinitiate a step alignment, recalibration. It's right on the panel. It's real simple. That will start the process again, and 95% of the time, you're good to go. It gets it right, everything's fine, text is stable. So anytime you see that, that's one of the choices. Another one of the choices is make sure that you put a take-up roll on it. That sometimes cures it right away. Other things that can fix it, believe it or not, there are cases where I just turn the OMOS off. I just say, you know what? The OMOS is having trouble reading the back of that material. There seem to be a certain category of materials that for whatever reason, the OMOS thinks it has it right and the OMOS has it wrong. The OMOS struggles to read it. It can't process it quite properly. In those cases, just turn the OMOS off and immediately the text goes from elongated to straight. The OMOS just wasn't getting a proper read on it. So sometimes I turn the OMOS off. The two most common things to prevent elongated text is either recalibrate the OMOS or turn it off. If the first one doesn't work, I switch to the second one. And that usually clears it up in almost every case. Now, some materials I mentioned do need a take-up reel, but usually one of those two is the first choice. So if you're seeing this kind of elongated text, what you're having here is a misregistration along the step alignment. That's almost always what elongated text means if you're reading the text right coming straight through the printer.